I literally had something I was just going to say, and I lost it. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 253 of the O The Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for rating and leaving comments when available, and all the other special things you do.
And of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. If you're watching us live, you're looking at us at facebook.com/O The Anthem, where you can find plenty more O The Anthem goodness. The videos will be up later at youtube.com/O The Anthem. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you're listening to this podcast under recording, you can always be a part of the show by giving us a call, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595. And of course, everything O The Anthem is available at otheanthem.com.
Yes, indeed.
And a message out to all the haters out there. Yes, this is episode 253, which by my reckoning makes 253 consecutive weeks of brand new content.
Hold on a second. Let me do some quick calculation.
Yes.
And yeah, that's right.
Yep. Now, if we do math, and I'm not great at it, so check me on this. Mm-hmm. I do believe that is just short of 5 years.
Yep. It is indeed.
Of consecutive weekly podcasts.
Yeah, at 260, we're at 5 years.
Not missing a single week.
Yep.
So those people who, I don't know, started out a podcast, got 4 or 5 episodes in and said, you know what, this is hard. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Welcome to the club.
Well, welcome. Anyway, so let's dive right in because I got a quick story I'd like to cover if you got a couple minutes, Corey.
No, I think I'm going to be around.
All right, so not a lot to talk about in sports ball.
Yeah. Pitchers and catchers reported for some teams.
Apparently there's a story that...
Oh, that was the joke I was going to make. I just remembered it now because I said it.
Go ahead. You want to start over?
Yeah,
Wait, here we go. Ready?
You want to do the alternate version of the opening of the show? Yeah,
ready?
Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Pitchers and catchers report. Now, if only the Orioles could get some pitchers and catchers. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem.
It's even better the second time. So yes, pitchers and catchers did report. And there is a story about how many free agents have not yet signed.
Yeah. Most notably, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, the two biggest free agents in the market, have not yet signed.
And the rumor is that Bryce Harper is this close to signing with the Phillies. That's the thing, right?
I think he's this close to signing with a lot of teams.
Well,
because I mean, like the thing is that at the end of the day, everyone wants you to go to their website and read the story.
Yes.
So somebody will send out a tweet going like, "Is Bryce Harper about to sign with the Cincinnati Reds?" And then all the people in Cincinnati going like, "Really?" Go to the website, and it's just like,
no,
he did have a layover in Cincinnati, so maybe, perhaps he met with Reds management, but we can't verify that at all. So thank you for reading. And you're just like, damn it.
Our show prep consists of basically sending tweets back and forth over the week. So then on Mondays, we review the tweets that we've sent back and forth and see what should we talk about for the week.
Yeah.
And on one of the accounts where you sent me a tweet, the most recent one that you sent me is still the United Center putting up, or not the United Center, the White Sox.
Yeah. That was at the United Center.
The United Center putting up Bryce Harper's number in banners, and that was going to be the big reveal that the White Sox were making a play.
Yeah.
And that was September, just after the season ended, that they were going to make the big announcement that Bryce Harper was coming to Chicago.
Well, so, I think what all these teams realized, and the players are having a hard time realizing, is that cheap talent rules the world. And like the goal for all these teams is really about getting as many cheap, young, controllable talents as you can.
Yeah.
And then you're like the Astros or the Cubs, where you have 7 people who are all-stars, but you're also paying them $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
mean,
like,
like,
run it out until they hit free agency.
Wait until they hit free agency. You pay 1 year. Like Nolan Arenado just signed his arbitration deal for like $27 million or something like that for this 1 year. So one of those years, you're really going to have to pay them what they're worth. But other than that, you're paying them like $500,000.
And not all of them. Like they're keeping him so that they still have their compact unit for the other guys who are still on their rookie contracts.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
so you're paying for one guy
rookies.
because other people are playing for less and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then really the only time it makes sense to sign a Manny Machado or a Bryce Harper is if you're like the Yankees.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, we're one piece away.
I mean,
But
or
like almost any other team can't really do that.
arguably though, the Dodgers, the Giants are both teams that are maybe one piece away, and they've got big checkbooks.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard more trade winds blowing that Bryce Harper might sign with the Giants, which I think
Yeah.
would be interesting, especially with the short porch and the
Right
McCovey
field?
Cove out
Yep.
in left field or in right field. Yeah, I mean, it's just weird that it's taking this long. Like I was listening to I'm not a huge NBA fan, but I like listening to like NBA discussions every
the
once in a while.
rumors, the rumor
Yeah,
mill?
just to like.
Yeah.
So if I get into a conversation with somebody about the NBA and they're just like, "Oh, you hear Anthony Davis wants a trade?" I'm like, "Who is that?"
Yeah. Did you hear about the 4-team trade that they got going on between LA and Phoenix and Milwaukee? And
I'm like, Milwaukee has a team.
now there's like literally right now a 4-team trade going on that involves like 19 players. And I'm like, what the hell? What are you talking about? I was like, well, these guys want somebody from Orlando and somebody from Phoenix to come to LA. And in order to get that, what they're organizing is sending someone to Memphis.
Yeah.
And Memphis is going to send somebody to Orlando, and that gets one of the guys here.
I think one of the greatest inventions ever, by the way, if you're interested in this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not obviously as big of a basketball person as I used to be, so I'm not good at this thing. But the ESPN has like a trade maker thing on their site where you can figure out what team cap is and like how much each player costs, and then you could do trades and see if it would match up money wise.
Right.
And then a lot of the times it seems like fans will just put together trades and be like, "Hey, this would work if the Magic and the Bobcats traded these two players."
Yeah.
And then like, that gets sent out into Twitter, and then eventually it gets to, "Have you ever thought about trading this guy for this guy?" And it's just like, you know what? Hold that thought.
Hang on a second.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like,
No, I mean, we would never do that.
What's crazy is that in the NBA, obviously baseball is different because they don't have like a luxury cap. Like in NBA, you could only sign a player for a max contract.
Yeah.
That's the most you can get. And the players who are getting max contracts, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper would be those players if they were NBA players instead
Yes.
of Major League Baseball players. But because it's all up to interpretation how much their deals are worth, that takes so much longer to get done. Whereas the NBA, the second that it becomes free agency,
you're getting max.
You have like Magic Johnson knocking on your door going like, become a Laker.
And we'll give you the max.
Yeah, and we'll
but
just-
you're gonna get, what the max is. We'll give it to you. So,
Right.
I think though that part of it though is the tide swinging away from those huge contracts, and Bryce and Manny think I'm worth more than what the market is offering me right now.
I think this is a conversation that there's a lot of apparently the players union and the owners have been talking about what's going to be included in the next labor negotiation, which is a big, huge step for them to be talking about this
early.
way before the deal ends.
It's almost like they
It's a
don't want to
shocking-
lock out baseball again.
I mean, it's sort of like when there's a shutdown in the government where it's like they seem to be talking about all the solutions for it like 8 o'clock before it happens.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours before the government shuts down, they're just like, we should probably propose a bill. That's sort of how baseball and the players union works. But
like let's get done the World Series. Hey, give them a couple weeks to celebrate. Winter meetings are coming up.
Listen, the
oh
deals-
shit, we don't have a contract.
deal's over at the end of February, so let's just all get together February 15th. We all have a night with the wives, and then we get by. I'm sure we can work out a very complex
Should be
deal
fine.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But no, they're talking about it, and like there's things like universal DH and pitcher clock or pitching clocks and bullpen usage and all these sort of things.
Yeah.
But I think that the
Expanding
difference,
the lineup too, by the way.
one of the big difference between the NBA and MLB is that players want to get the longest possible contract because it's all guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if you sign Bryce Harper to a $250 million deal, he's making $250 million whether or not he sneezes and slips in the shower on day one of the contract or not.
Yes.
So
Then you have to Bobby Bonilla that bad boy for the next 100 years.
there's no interest. There's no interest in the players like necessarily giving up
Yeah.
the long-term security. But what you could, I mean, like what the downside of this is what's happening in the NBA now, where someone like LeBron James is just like, I'm going to sign 1-year contracts every single
time.
year.
Yep.
Because I'm going to get paid the most every time. And then if I get really sick of the Cavs, then I can leave. Then I can go play for the Lakers.
And a lot of it is they get to influence. He goes to the Lakers and he says, these are the 4 players I want you to pick up because I want to win a championship. And they say, well, we'll get you 2, but not 4. And he's like, okay, hey, Cavs, these are the 4 players I'd like you to bring in.
Right.
Well, we can get 3, but we can't get all 4 of them.
Right.
All right, Heat, here's the 4 players I'd like you to pick up. You actually have one of them.
So then this problem becomes, do you like the idea of baseball where it's like Cal Ripken or Derek Jeter who play their entire careers with one team, or is it like the NBA where one star player could play on 10 different teams over the course of their career?
Yeah,
and
they were saying like there's some guy who's playing now who has played for half of the NBA teams.
Yeah.
He just jumps around and he's like not a superstar, but he's like the 4th guy.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of wants him because he's really good at the assists and he's like good on rebounding. And he's not ball hog. And when you're dealing with LeBron, like, give me the ball. That's really what I want. But he's been on like half the teams. I'm like, how do you make, the journeyman making a career. And for him, it's not the max. It's like, hey, so I made 50% of the max last year. All right, well, we'll offer you 55% of max. Well, we'll offer you 60% of max.
Yeah.
Okay, jumping and going somewhere else. Because I think what he knows is that his performance stays high, and then a couple years from now, maybe a year or 2, he'll lock in a 5-year contract. It'll be guaranteed. He'll blow his knee out, and then he'll go sit on the bench for 5 years. So
I mean, it's just I think it's a question of what we as fans really want. That's what we need to figure out. And then one other sports. I
was about to do that.
Okay.
Speaking of what the fans really want, the story I wanted to talk about this week. You may not have heard this, but a controversial NFL player finally got signed this week. Do you know who that is?
I do.
Okay.
It's Kareem Hunt.
Oh, well, some might have thought, what, Colin Kaepernick finally got a deal? Oh, no, because Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and that really upset the owners. Kareem Hunt, all he did was beat a woman senseless. So, sure, let's give him another job. Didn't even see who. I didn't finish reading the story. Literally, read the headline, opened the first paragraph, and I was like, nope, I'm done with this. Didn't even see what team picked him up.
The Browns.
Fucking course. Not only a fucking course, because one half of my brain is like, a fucking course, it's the Browns, but the other half is like, of course it had to be AFC North. Of course it had to be the AFC North.
Of course I have to see this guy twice a year.
Yes, but nonetheless. So once again, if we're analyzing, Colin Kaepernick, Super Bowl quarterback, 2012.
Yeah.
Still cannot get a job. We're going into the 4th year now of him not having a job.
Right.
Kareem Hunt beat a woman so much so that the team he was on gave him up early in the season when he was looking at the number 1 running back in the.
No, they gave up on him at the end of the season.
Was it the end of last season?
No, it was end of this season.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, they didn't play him.
It was week 14 or something like that, and they just cut him.
Was it really that late? I felt like it was earlier than that.
No, it was really late in the season.
7 or 8.
No. Really late in the season.
But as soon as the news came out, they cut him.
Right.
Despite the fact that team, by the way, was headed to the playoffs and maybe
could have used him.
Right. When that season wrapped up with the last game of the season. There's a moral stand that comes from saying we're not going to do that. Well, apparently, the Browns have no morals. So.
So here's the complicated part of this whole story, and not complicated because of why he get a job again or anything like that, because he's talented and that's why he's going to get a job again.
Of course, like Ray Rice.
Exactly. The problem here is that Kareem Hunt is one of the 10 best running backs in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So somebody was going to re-sign him, or somebody was going to sign him. But I also get why the Chiefs had to cut him immediately. And that's because any kind of sunshine that happens on anything in corporate America will end with the person being terminated.
Okay.
If you get drunk in the parking lot and yell at some woman, and say something that maybe is sexist or racist or something like that.
You mean if you go on national TV and tell a story about how you tried to track down some black bastards to go beat up?
Sure.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, your movie might have the lowest opening of any movie you've ever been in.
Could have it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, like, I was specifically thinking of, like, there was some story about some woman who was drunk and yelling at some girls in a parking lot. And then, Twitter figured out who she was.
Her. Yeah.
It was just like, she works at Bank of America in Charlotte. And then Bank of America, as soon as that like reached like 50,000 retweets and like there's news stories about it, it's just like, we can't do this.
Yep.
We can't keep you. Like this, we would look like horrible people if we didn't fire you. So you're fired, and good luck finding a new job.
Yep.
But
I'm sure she worked again though.
I'm sure she did. It's when you're really good, somehow you manage to get other opportunities.
Yes.
Even if you do horrible things. And this has happened throughout the course of the NFL.
Let me make an argument to you.
Yeah.
The NFL only cares if they capture your behavior on video. Ray Rice captured on video.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt not.
No, well, he was captured on video too. The video release is what got him released.
Was it on video? See, I don't remember seeing the video either.
So here's the thing.
But it wasn't a Ray Rice type video. The uppercut in the elevator.
He kicked a woman in the head.
I never saw did I never see the video?
I guess not. Essentially what happened was, the long story short of this video, of this whole story, is in April or something like that, he got arrested for this. And the news got out, Kareem Hunt hits a woman. All the facts kind of come out.
Yeah, but in the off season.
Yeah, in the off season, but it's not video. There's no video.
Yeah.
It's just a description of what happened. The Chiefs suspend him or fine him or do something, and it's like we're good with the situation.
Yeah, we followed the NFL's policy. 3 games.
And
2 games.
Apparently, Kareem Hunt, when he met with NFL officials, was very forthcoming about the details. But the difference is, anytime I can say that. I had an altercation with Rachel and I kicked her.
Yeah.
And you could be like, all right, well, it's not great. You shouldn't ever kick her.
Yeah.
But, maybe there was like, she was just like grabbing you and you just sort of like kicked her away from you. Or like you can make some sort of rationale about how maybe, like when you hear me telling the story, you want to think the least of it.
Yes.
And then if you see a video of me just like bicycle kicking someone, then you're just like, oh my God, that's not exactly what I was thinking.
That the Dover cop who kicked the suspect in the head, who like waited for him to get down on his hands and knees and punted his head.
Right, exactly.
That cop who got a job in Greensboro, Maryland, a town just down the street from my parents. And then later choked out another teenage black child, and he died. So, what do you think? Anyway, yes. So the video came out,
but I'm saying like the video always makes things worse.
Of course,
I could tell you exactly what happened, but when you see the video, you're going to go like, "Oh my God, that's horrible." That's not. That's exactly what he said, but it's not how I imagined it would be.
Right.
So I mean, when the video came out, they released him, and his whole life came unraveled there for a bit. And now he signed a new contract. I don't, it's one of those things. Like I don't know what to tell you at the end of the day. Like
the NFL doesn't care about women. They care more about kneeling for a flag than they do about domestic violence. That's the message.
See, but here's the thing. I think that I was trying to make the argument that Kaepernick and Kareem Hunt are not the same person.
Of course.
So Kareem Hunt is 100% one of the 10 best running backs in the NFL.
And that should matter, though. Why does that matter?
No. Hold on. All I'm saying is the reason why that matters in the terms of who gets signed more quickly is that there's a huge gulf in the talent between Kareem Hunt and Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
Now, there's not enough of a gulf between their talents that all the people who have signed as quarterbacks on other teams should make up for the fact that Kaepernick has not been signed.
In any other stretch, Colin Kaepernick may not be able to claim it.
But I'm saying Kaepernick is not a no doubt he's the starter on this team if we signed him today kind of thing. And most teams don't have a running back who's better than Kareem Hunt.
Right. But again, does that matter? Should it matter?
All it matters for is his ability to get a job right away. That's all I'm saying. The reason why he was signed right away is because he's talented. And because if the Browns didn't sign him, then somebody else would have signed him.
Yeah.
And there were probably multiple offers just sitting there waiting for him to take. Probably all less than what he would have been making if he never had kicked the woman, which I guess is the punishment that he's going to get for that.
So why is he allowed to play? The NFL has all but blackballed Colin Kaepernick. In fact, there's a lawsuit that is on the verge of proving that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, it should go to court in the next month or so.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see. I guess we shouldn't be out of turn. But
Yeah.
my understanding from
The attorney of the case?
the most of the people who are in the know is like, yeah, this is not looking good for the NFL, but they're basically, Jerry Jones is leading the like, no, fuck them kind of mentality of, no, we can win this. It'll be fine. So that's about to go to court. They blackballed Kaepernick, and yet Hunt's thing is just like, no, it's fine. Again, you get more games punishment for using marijuana or CBD oil, by the way, than you do for domestic violence, so long as there's not a video.
Oh yeah, listen. I'm not saying that the NFL has this. It's hard to separate the what as a human being would I expect do I have as expectations morally of the people that I root for or are employees of a sport that I enjoy, and is this person talented enough to be on a team? You know, they're almost two separate things.
Okay.
And I think that the talent is the reason why he was signed, not does he stand up to the high moral standards that we expect of Cleveland Browns, you know?
Of course, but I'm looking at it the other way and saying, should he even be able to be signed? Should they just give him a ban? Just because of
like a lifetime ban?
I mean, like Pete Rose is banned from baseball for gambling on baseball with no evidence that he ever gambled on a game that he played in.
Yes.
Kareem
At the
Hunt,
time that he was banned from life, there was no. But the baseball was betting on baseball is a 100%, no doubt about it. You're done.
But was there a rule?
Yes.
At the time?
Yes.
For not betting?
Yes.
I mean, why?
Because
did they
after the 1919 Black Sox scandal.
Yeah, but why did they let an umpire who is a notorious bettor become the umpire at the Super Bowl?
That was
the guy who was the crew chief at the Super Bowl is a notorious gambler.
I didn't hear any.
Yeah, I feel like the NFL killed that story.
I haven't heard a lot of good reporting on that story.
I heard the NFL killed the story, so there you go.
No, but I mean, like, basically what you got to say is, like, 32 teams, 22 of them could look at Kareem Hunt and say he's better than what we have.
Yeah.
When Kaepernick became a free agent, 32 teams could look at Kaepernick and 27 of them could say we have a better quarterback than Kaepernick right now.
But then,
and of those 27 made a determination that it was not worth the trouble that would come with signing him as a backup.
Okay, but then over the course of the last 4 years...
And by trouble, I don't necessarily mean him kneeling, but more like the fans of that particular team going like...
burning your jerseys.
I've been a lifetime Buffalo Bills fan, but now that they have Kaepernick, they're fucking un-American assholes, and yeah.
But again, over the next 4 years, can you make that same justification? When you're digging deep, you're bringing Mark Sanchez out of retirement.
Yeah.
Can you make that same justification?
No, I mean, I think Kaepernick is more talented than people that have been signed before him.
Yes.
But I'm saying that's almost it'd be like if Kareem Hunt didn't get signed for a year and a half, then we would be having the argument that finally actions have stood up to nobody wanting him kind of thing and him having to prove his way back. But,
that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing.
So don't smoke weed, beating your wife, totally okay. That's sports ball for this week. So speaking of travesties, have you seen the Aladdin trailer?
Yeah, I did.
I don't even want to talk about it. Just listen, guys, it's live action Aladdin. Will Smith's going to be playing a genie. I don't know what you really thought was going to happen. But
This is just sort of the first step of the internet.
yeah.
Remember Gritty?
Yes. Yes.
Gritty comes out and there's like a whole week of like, what the hell is this horrible monstrosity? And then there's a week of like
beloved Gritty.
Everyone loves Gritty. And now literally everyone loves Gritty. So much so that he's become like the face of the radical left.
Yes.
Like
yes.
he's been made into a political statement of types.
I will be damned though if Will Smith as the genie becomes he might be a figurehead of the radical right. I can't really say, but
no, but I'm saying all these people just don't remember, like, Twitter wasn't as robust as it was back when The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
But I still remember articles the first time there was like makeup tests of Heath Ledger going like, what the hell are they doing with the Joker?
Right, yeah.
Why does he look so dirty and weird and disheveled? And that's not the Joker. And
Well,
then that happens literally every time. There's never
The new Joker, same thing.
think about any time in the history of the last 10 years where something has come out and people have been like, oh, that looks amazing. I can't wait. Like the only thing that sort of gets that kind of scrutiny is like the next or that kind of reaction is like the next version of like the Marvel franchise.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, this is going to be the best one yet. I can't wait for the
Although,
second part of Infinity War, you know? Like,
Captain Marvel, though.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
looks good.
But I'm saying like it's all going to come down to A, how good the movie is, and B, how good Will Smith is in it.
Yeah.
And I mean like how much they make that character enjoyable. Like, you know, it's not 100% up to Will Smith, but I mean like,
And also,
if it's a good script, a good movie, and Will Smith has good parts in it, then it's going to be loved.
let's not let Will Smith do his impression of Robin Williams. That's really what I'm hoping. Don't let him find his own genie.
Yeah.
Don't be like, let me do a live action impersonation of Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I think if you were going to go that way, you would have tried to get like Jim Carrey or someone like that. Somebody who can,
And do an impression.
well, not even an impression, but like sort of play up to the physical nature of Robin.
Yeah.
Like as the genie, I guess. I mean, it was animated, so obviously it could be way more animated than Robin was in real life.
Have you seen the video of him playing the genie?
Oh,
though?
yeah.
He's super animated in the booth.
Well,
so,
he's always animated,
yeah.
but I'm saying like nothing compares to a cartoon where, you know, like your shoulder doesn't get dislocated if you go like this. Like,
right. Yes.
so I don't know. It doesn't look good. The CGI doesn't look good. My hope is that they were just trying to rush this trailer out because they had already bought the ad spot.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
Oh shit.
somebody from Disney walks into the edit suite and he's just like, what is the best scene you have done so far of this genie? And it's just like, this one's about 30% done.
Either that or they're like,
Get it out there. Put
all
it
right,
in the
guys.
cut.
Yeah. So we're gonna need that commercial by the 10th. But February 10th? Oh shit. Shit.
It's the 8th.
Sorry, we should have been more on top of that. Got distracted. Grammys. Grammys are in town.
We told Jerry to tell you. Who's Jerry? Oh, well, anyway, 2 days from now. See ya.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just
Yeah.
put it out. Anybody eats up this garbage we put out, it doesn't really matter. Just put it out there. We'll put the Disney logo.
Speaking of anyone eats this garbage we put out there, the Grammys were yesterday.
Yeah. And didn't watch a single minute of the Grammys.
I haven't watched the Grammys in, I think TLC was on it the last time I watched the Grammys. That's how long ago it
Aren't
was.
two of them dead now?
No,
Yeah.
just Left Eye.
No, I think Chili's dead too.
I think you're putting some negative juju in the
I mean,
universe.
maybe, but I'm pretty sure two of them are dead.
Is Chili from the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah, Chili Peppers. No, but the Grammys, yeah. Here's the thing. Who cares? I mean, they're making some advancement with Cardi B getting the best album of the year and Childish Gambino getting best rap or best single of the year. But are you looking it up?
Yeah, definitely still alive.
Okay. Are they both still alive? Are the T and the C both alive?
You're gonna make me see if T-Boz of TLC is still.
I'm pretty sure two of them are dead. I don't know which two. I know Left Eye is dead, but
Yeah, well, we all know Left Eye's dead. Both alive.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, false alarm. False alarm.
T-Boz is tweeting about Black History Month. So,
Oh, hey, so I'm guessing she's alive.
so she's been alive for at least somewhere in the last 11 days. She's been alive.
But yeah, yes, they're advancing a little bit because you're seeing like hip hop artists make their way into the Grammys, and Ariana Grande won a Grammy, and Kelsey Musgrave, whoever that is, won a
Casey
Grammy.
Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves. I don't know
Yeah.
who that is, but
She's a country.
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, great, but in the end, I don't know that they have their fingers on the pulse of America. No Tekashi. I mean, why would I even watch it?
I think, if anything, this will be my one bit on the Grammys, so
Yeah.
we can move along a little quicker here. Is that when you have terrible artists and you lower the bar for what music is supposed to be, then you're going to get the next generation of artists to be worse than the one that happened before it. The only way to raise the bar is to have better artists and to cultivate that. And the Grammys will not be good until people actually start trying again. So, and then we're probably at least 2 generations away from that happening again. So I wouldn't imagine that a good Grammys is going to come around, if at all, for another 18, 20 years.
I am not likely to watch the Oscars this year either. Or I think that I don't know that I would mind watching the Grammys. Just I don't really want to invest 3 hours into what's basically like a Super Bowl halftime show punctuated by boring awards and speeches. I mean, Oscars the same way. It's like, oh, hey, I watched you in a movie. Yeah.
I mean, at the end, I think the problem mostly with the Grammys as opposed to like the Oscars is that the Oscars, there's a chance that you could have like some little scene independent film be nominated for Best Picture. There is no chance, none, 100% no chance that you can be nominated for Best Album or Best Record or however the fuck they do it at the Grammys if you are not signed to some sort of a label.
Yes.
Or at the very least are like ridiculously played on SoundCloud or something like that.
There has not been an album of the year that wasn't signed by the big 3 since there was a big 3.
Right.
I mean, you might be able to go back to like Capitol Records 1982 before they were part of UMG.
Yeah, but I'm saying if there's like some band called Splitting Gypsies that like has, you know,
is that
something.
A real band name?
No, I'm just made up something.
That's not a bad band name.
Just had
trademarked
50 million people who followed them on SoundCloud or something like that and broke the SoundCloud record for most people who's ever followed them. Maybe then you would be able to get an album of the year out of the Splitting Gypsies. But other than that, there's just not, it's like I like the old joke where it's just like, they don't actually reward the best music. They just reward the best music that the people in that room have heard.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why you never see some garage band get nominated for a Grammy. And you don't see him win because then they would be like, hey, sorry, he can't accept his award tonight because Travis couldn't get off his shift at Pizza Hut tonight.
I mean, the other side of that is, what was the category that they didn't put in the Oscars, but they were talking about putting in?
Most popular film?
Yeah, I mean, like, essentially the Grammys is some version of most popular and what album made the most money. Like, that's really what it is. Childish Gambino's single was amazing.
There's no reason. I mean, like... There's straight, you know, and Childish Gambino is one of them. Because, I mean, like, This Is America, like, hit a real nerve that music doesn't usually do anymore. So, obviously, that had a lot of personal feelings and heft behind it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, so much of what's being written out, I mean, like, how do you deem the artistic worthiness of like Gucci Gang, you know? Like, it's just not, there's no point in like looking at it and being like, oh, what I think what they're doing here with the vibrato and the like, and the transitions between choruses is truly wonderful. And, you know, like there's no way to articulately look at something like that and be able to figure out like whether or not like this is good or not.
But you're looking for good. I'm just looking for, it's like I can go to a museum. Might not like it, but I recognize that it's art, and I appreciate it for being what it is. Ariana Grande's Thank You Next is maybe not music I would prefer to listen to, but I recognize it as art, and I can appreciate it thusly.
See, but I think that the difference between traditionally, you know, like the problem with music before and music now is that I used to be able to go into the museum analogy and say like, I don't really care for Garth Brooks, but I understand why people like him. And even though it's not my thing, I get why people like it. And then walking outside and seeing like a billboard on a bus and confusing it for art at the same time, just being like, I don't really appreciate that Ariana Grande, but I see her driving by on the bus, so I guess I have to include her as art because she's a billboard on a bus.
You're mixing metaphors here. I'm saying that her music is art.
Yeah, I'm saying the fact that what used to be art is no longer now we're considering, you know, like crumpled up pieces of paper that you can find in a gutter as art as well, because that's how low the bar has become on music.
According to you. Again,
Yes.
my point is that I can appreciate these things without denigrating them and saying they must be lesser just because they don't like
Real
them.
quick, just because we got off on the Grammys, I'd like to say one more thing. I don't know who the fuck that girl is with the Build the Wall dress.
Yes.
And the reason why she wore it is because nobody knows who the fuck she is.
Yes.
And she wanted to get her picture put on the internet.
Yep.
And shared by a whole bunch of people, even if they're going to be like, oh, this racist bitch.
And it worked.
Yeah. So that one got out everywhere. You know the dress if you've seen it.
Yeah.
It was inspired by Pink Floyd The Wall. And I'd like to take a minute here as somebody who greatly appreciates the work of Pink Floyd, especially The Wall, both the album and the movie. Whoever designed that dress doesn't know what the fuck that thing's about.
Don't understand the wall at all.
Yeah.
That Pink Floyd, they got a message in that album.
So number one, just to quickly recap in case somebody's missed it.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd The Wall is about how basically Roger Waters became so dangerously isolated because he couldn't find connection with real human beings that he built a
Emotional?
yeah,
wall?
like an emotional wall around him. And
Yeah.
that was the wall he was speaking of. And when they started like writing the album, they would actually build a wall between them and the audience. So he wouldn't have to have any connection with the people on the outside because he felt like he wasn't like he was going through a lot of things and they weren't getting him. And that if he said like these things out loud, then people would like take it the wrong way. And the actual movie, The Wall, has the Pink character played by Bob Geldof become essentially Hitler in front of everybody and start screaming things about like, hey, that guy looks a little bit Jewish. Throw him against the wall. And it's like, is he black? Throw him against the wall. And just taking everybody who is different from him in any sort of way. And it ends with a trial, which basically says he's a horrible human being and shouldn't be in regular discourse. And that's the end of the movie. So if you're comparing your wall to somebody losing their mind, becoming a Nazi, and then being guilty, I don't know if this is necessarily the message you want to send
Maybe
right
that's
now.
the message she's sending. I don't know. Now her Twitter.
Listen, I wore this dress because I think Trump is an idiot. I think he's dangerously isolated from the outside world. He's going to be convicted at some point, and
Thrown against the wall?
yeah.
I mean, in the end, she's a conservative. The first thing in her Twitter bio is #MAGA. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was not meant to be ironic. It
Right.
was being an idiot. Probably.
just
but
not knowing what it's about.
yes. But yes, that was probably the best part of the Grammys. I literally heard nothing except for "This Is America," Cardi B.
It's like
wall
I
dress.
really care about wealth inequality, so I'm going to wear the Great Gatsby as a
Just to send a
as
message.
dress.
Just to send a message.
You're gonna see that eye, and you're gonna know.
Yeah.
I care about poor people.
Yep, that's what it
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez showing up at the State of the Union wearing the pages of Great Gatsby as a dress.
It really sends a message. It really does.
I stand up for the lower people.
All for the little people.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to cover a story which I thought we would both be on the same page with, but it turns out Corey's so out of touch.
Apparently.
I mean, it didn't happen in the what's the world of Link and Zelda called? Hyrule.
Hyrule.
It didn't happen in Hyrule. It didn't happen in Mario Kart Land. So apparently he didn't see it. But do you know what the AIPAC is?
No.
APAC, if you will.
No.
It's the American Israeli.
I know OPEC.
OPEC's something different. That's the oil producing. No, petroleum exporting countries.
Oil, petroleum.
Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries.
Yeah.
I got it. It's all up here somewhere. APAC is the American Israeli Political Action Committee. And a representative from Minnesota, who happens to be the one of two first Muslim representatives elected to Congress, had a bit of a issue. Kerfuffle when she tweeted out it got into a little bit of a Twitter jabbing session with someone and basically established that the AIPAC was a secretive group of Israelis, not Jews, Israelis, there's a difference, who was pulling the strings and controlling our government a bit. Now, this is a white supremacist, historically, to use the word very broadly, anti-Semitic argument that Jews rule the world, that they are pulling the strings and they're ruling the world. And of course, AIPAC proved that this was in fact not the case, that this is an ugly rumor by calling up members of both parties in Congress who they donated millions of dollars to and who have put their bills into place as laws and getting them to condemn this member of Congress. So if I wanted to prove that I wasn't part of a secret cabal that was running the world and funding the campaigns of everyone in Congress, that's exactly what I would do. So she apologized and said, I never meant my remarks to be anti-Semitic, which it was clear they were not. They were aimed at AIPAC, which is a political action committee funded by in part, the Zionist government of Israel, which has nothing to do with Judaism, has nothing to do with... First of all, let's just sidebar. Anti-Semitic. What does that word mean to you, Corey? To be anti-Semitic.
To be against the Jewish people?
See, so...
Like, to be not racist against Jews. It's not quite a race, but I mean, like, it's general bad juju towards the Jewish people.
Here's the thing. Who are the Semitic peoples?
I actually don't know. I never thought of this.
So the Semitic peoples are the people of the Middle East, meaning Palestinians are Semitic, Syrians are Semitic, Iraqis Semitic, Iranians, are they Semitic?
Yeah.
No, they're Persian. Persians are different than Semitic peoples. Iraqis, Kuwaitis, Saudis, Jordanians, also Israelis, also Semitic. So it's a little weird that you would use the term anti-Semitic to only mean Israelis, since there are many Semitic people, but ignoring that.
I mean, would it be like in the sense if I said something like people from Central America are coming to take our jobs as just as a statement, right? Then that would be an anti-Hispanic remark or an anti-Latino remark, because Hispanic essentially means somebody who speaks Spanish. So Hispanic could also mean somebody from Spain.
Hispanic means...
Latino is more about the Latin American countries.
Yes. So saying anti-Hispanic is kind of the association here. Like, you're not the only people who speak Spanish.
Right.
A lot of people around the world speak Spanish. We are talking about this very specific one single group. So to be anti-Jewish, maybe. I mean, we use the word colloquial to mean anti-Jewish, but anti-Semitic does not mean that. I mean, and that frustrates me. But nonetheless, her comments were about the government of Israel spending U.S. money, because, by the way, we give them $8 billion a day, $8 billion a day in aid, using that money to then funnel back into the AIPAC to then fund congressmen through their reelection campaigns and then get bills passed that benefit the AIPCA and Israel. And her only point was, hey, this kind of is a fucked up system, and you're basically embezzling from the United States when you do this. And not a comment about Jews in general, not a comment about people from Israel in general, comment about the government and about the way our government works. By the way, Ocasio-Cortez with another thing about, did you see her bad guy speech? Like, would I be a bad guy?
Yeah. And the, like, if I set up a super PAC and everything like that.
I think got a lot of shit for that too.
I think actually though, the best version of Ocasio-Cortez is that.
Yes.
Like, basically accepting the fact that half the country is going to think of her as the worst person ever, and just leaning into it and saying, like, all right, let's say I really wanted to take advantage of this. What are all the things that the Republicans are doing that I can take advantage of?
Well, and I think the ironic thing is that Representative Oman from Minnesota was fully ready to lean into it.
Yeah.
But they started talking about censure, which means that she wouldn't be able to participate in committees. She wouldn't be able to...
You mean after Steve King, right? I'm sure Steve King has officially been censured, right?
This is the ironic part. If you guys don't know who Steve King is, he is an admitted and public racist.
And he got in trouble for it like a month ago for saying, like, I don't see what the problem is with saying, like, white supremacy or something like that. And then there was a conversation about, like, oh, we're going to take him off all the committees. We're going to censure him. Just you wait.
Yeah, nothing happened.
It's like, oh, this government shutdown seems to be taking a while. I guess Steve King's going to be okay.
And then she makes one comment on Twitter, which is only anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish if you go through this mental exercise of meaning that every person who supports the Israeli government, which by the way is committing an apartheid and a genocide on the Palestinian people, that by supporting BDS, which is a boycott, divest, the boycott and divest, and I can't remember what the S stands for, movement, that somehow by supporting that, you are anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, speaking of the people from Israel, and you can't be pro-Palestinian and support the Jewish state as well. Because, by the way, I support the right of a Jewish state to exist, but I don't support the right of a Jewish state to commit apartheid and genocide on another people, which they're currently doing. So she is talking about getting censured for a tweet that supported BDS. But Steve King, an admitted and public racist, a white supremacist, nothing.
Yeah.
So she backed down from her, like, I'm going to call it like I see it and be the enemy, because she wanted to avoid censure. That's what it came down to. Mm-hmm. And this is where our Congress is at right now. And when they tell you things like, hey, maybe we should build some guillotines out on the National Mall and get a little change.
And I will say this. I didn't know a lot about this story, so that's why I've been so quiet on it.
Yeah.
But I will say this. We have to figure out exactly what our lines are going to be. I think racism and like avert sexism.
Yeah.
And avert like, you know, anything, any of the isms, any of the acceptable isms are basically the line right now. But I mean, like we had Trump doing their good people on both sides thing back from Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And that to me just seems like a worse statement than what I had seen of what you have been discussing here. You know,
BDS, she's supporting a movement that just says, "Hey, we want to get Israel to start respecting Palestinian life."
Yeah.
So by doing that, we boycott products from Israel, we divest from Israeli companies, and I can't remember what the fucking S is. God damn it, this is gonna drive me crazy. Talk a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, another part that I think is interesting though about this whole thing is that Israel,
sanctions. Boycott, divestment, sanctions. Fuck. Right.
Israel specifically has sort of this, it felt like this untouchable thing. It's sort of like the third rail of American government kind of thing. Like you had to support Israel because the way that most people think of Israel is Nazis and everyone had to flee and there was no place for Jews to go. And this had originally been Jewish territory that we were going to give back to the Jews. Well, I did the the quote unquote because all that territory was somebody's territory at some point or another. I mean, it's not like.
By the way, your book talks about Abraham going from where he lived to
it's
this
not
place.
like you're Madagascar, who's only been Madagascar always because it's an island and nobody else isn't preached on its borders or something like that, you know. But I think a lot of people still think of like. And this is obviously a super oversimplification of the whole thing, but Israel was a benefit to the Jewish people because of what had happened during Germany and World War II and Nazis and everything like that. But now it is sort of, it's like one of those things like we're 60, 70 years in or something like that at this point of Israel.
48. So 70 years.
Yeah. So, I mean,
80 years.
It's like we might have, and you would argue, I don't know enough about it to say exactly when it jumped the shark over this is making up for Nazis. Yeah. And we're doing bad things. But in a lot of people's minds, there's never been a jump the shark moment. It's only just left off at this is a restitution for Nazis.
Self-defense.
Essentially. Yeah.
And they need self-defense. So when some kid throws a rock at the soldier and the soldier shoots the kid, this is self-defense.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know why we would argue that because American Border Patrol does that. If somebody throws a rock across the border, we shoot across the border and kill people.
Apparently there will be a lot more of that too.
Moving forward, I suppose that is what's going to be doing. So because one thing that Trump talked about this week is he wants to build a human wall. If he can't build a physical wall, he wants to build a human wall. In the latest pantheon of bad ideas from Trump, this is it. Where basically, and this is the gamut that we talked about in the pre-show, that he doesn't actually want to build a human wall. But what he knows is, as commander-in-chief, under the global war on terror, he can basically order troop deployment wherever and whenever he wants, so long as he ties it to terror. Which is why you're hearing a lot of that, like, terrorists
are coming across the border.
Right, yeah. So it becomes part of the global war on terror, the GWOT, which, by the way...
Do you know how many terrorists have crossed the southern border, by the way?
I think they said 1.
0.
Oh, well, that they know of. I mean, that's because they haven't caught them yet, Corey.
Yeah.
But
they live in your neighborhoods. Give up.
just waiting to strike.
Obey. Don't dissent.
Yeah. So basically, the global war on terror is what Congress in 2003 said. Okay, we're going to give you all the money you ask for, and there's not going to be a time limit on it because we're fighting a concept that can't be beaten. Therefore, enjoy. So now Trump is going to use this. And again, they reached a point where we said, maybe this has gone too far. But there was a Republican president and Republican House, Republican Senate, and we couldn't get our shit together. But then for one brief 2-year period, we had Democratic House, Democratic Senate, Democratic president. And we could have rolled that whole thing back and said, let's be more responsible. But that Democratic president was too busy bombing brown children all around the world using... drones.
Yeah.
So didn't want to really roll that back, as it were. He was making too much money for the country, selling arms and making friends by bombing brown children who other brown people didn't like.
Innocent children.
Innocent brown children, to be fair. So we didn't roll it back, and now we have Trump, who is going to use this same concept to basically, according to him, put troops on the border and create a physical border made of U.S. troops where they will deploy. And of course, the cost of this will be in the hundreds of billions of dollars, as we've seen in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so the gamut is, would you prefer me to put troops on the border at the cost of hundreds of billions, or will you give me $20 billion to build the wall? Because I can do the one without you. Because if you don't vote for the funding for the troops, I get to beat you up with the, you didn't vote for funding for the troops. Because we're so big into our troops that they must be funded every time. Or give me the $20 billion for the wall, and I'll build the wall. So I mean, he's not dumb. This is the thing. He's not dumb, and doesn't have dumb advice. I mean, except for Rudy Giuliani, he's a dumb advisor. You should stop listening to him.
He's got pretty dumb advice. This is not gonna work out well.
No.
Number one, he might be able to start doing this. He might be able to say, "I'm officially deploying troops to the southern border on a emergency."
He's done it before.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, you know, the we're going to have somebody one every 10 feet kind of thing across the border. And then there's going to be a lot of video cameras of showing troops just standing there.
Yep.
And
missing Christmas, missing 4th of July.
Yeah, all these things.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new story about how troops are doing this, that, and the other.
Yep. Some soldier will kill some kid who throws a rock at him. Yep.
I don't know. This whole thing is just dumb. Like I understand that there are people who feel like we need a wall. I understand like why they've gotten to that point.
Yes.
Like the mentality of that person. What I don't get is how that mentality supersedes the mentality of most of the country. Like most of the country can't agree on anything. But the wall has like a 68, 70% disapproval rating, you know? Where only like 30% of people really want this goddamn wall.
Yep.
But, you know, if 30% of people wanted heroin to be legal, they wouldn't do it. Like there's no place where it would be like, you know, like Trump is holding the country hostage because 30% of the country wants heroin, you know, like.
Imagine this. Imagine that there's 100 people. You're standing outside of a crowd of 100 people, and 30 of them want something, but you know that they want that, but there's not an inconvenience to not give it to them.
Yeah.
The 30% who want the wall are the equivalent of 30 people in that crowd of 100 who are shouting and screaming and just getting nothing but all your attention.
Yeah.
So in the end, they may get the wall solely because it's like, we want to move on to
Temper
other
tantrum,
things.
yeah.
And if you're talking about $500 billion for troops on the border for 5 years, let's just give them $20 billion to build a damn wall and move on with our lives.
I think the Democrats would just let them do it.
And of course, put them on the troops on the wall? Of course they would. No, because the likelihood that eventually...
let this blow up on him or, you know...
Can you imagine Vietnam on the southern border when like troops start fragging their officers? Because it's like, hey, I see a Jack in the Box, a Whataburger. Can I go over to Whataburger? Like, no, we're in the war zone right now.
Yeah.
It's not fucking war zone. There's a Walmart over there. What are you talking about? And then somebody gets fragged.
I'm just standing in the middle of a river.
I'm in a Walmart parking lot, man. Like, what are you talking about over here?
I'm in the middle of some guy's backyard.
There's a guy in his underwear watering the plants over here. What are we doing with our lives?
Just imagine you had a soldier just like sitting in your backyard all day. It's just like, I don't like this.
Guy mowing the lawn around him. He's just going around in circles. Sir, could you step over?
Could you scoot out of the way a little bit?
Move. Thanks.
I have to stay in this post, this specific post. It's like, can I just mow my goddamn grass, please?
Oh, yeah. You just got to wait 12 minutes for them to do that fucking Buckingham Palace guard duty where they turn and walk, follows him with the mower, turns and runs away from him with the mower. Yeah, it'd be great. Anyway, it's really dumb.
Yeah.
But this could be why. Report out this week. The U.S. military is shrinking to unsafe levels. 2 reasons. Number 1. Mr. Rogers. If anyone's to blame, it's him. And I really wanted to get to this. I'm glad. So the clock's 10 minutes fast, but we got 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
And I really wanted to get to this because for the first time in maybe 2 years,
Yeah.
I cried this week.
I think the last time you cried too was because like you got hurt in some manner too, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember why I cried the last time. I got hit by a car. Didn't cry.
Yeah.
Grandmother died. Didn't cry at her funeral. I cried at Won't You Be My Neighbor last night, which leads me to believe, as I posted on Instagram this week or today, really just a sign of some deep-seated and latent emotional damage of some kind, which I'm not really ready to get in touch with. So we're just going to gloss over that.
I also shared in a cry over Won't You Be My Neighbor, and I think it's just because like I loved Fred Rogers so much.
I mean, well, you also
it's like one of those things like even if I know that somebody died, but I'm watching a documentary on them,
yeah,
and I really like them, at some point like there's going to be that moment where somebody, and this one it's just like, so Fred was really sick, and I'm just like, don't you do this to me. Not today, Satan.
But he came out when 9/11 happened. He came out and he said, he looked at me right before he rolled camera and he said, I don't even know if this is going to matter anymore.
What?
Fred.
You're Mr. Rogers.
Fred.
You've changed lives.
No, but I mean, I get it. You cried, but you also cried when you dropped a piece of pizza on the floor a couple weeks ago. I'm talking about the fact that. No,
It was my good one.
I don't know what it is about that movie, but I highly recommend it. If you are a millennial, maybe early millennial to Gen Xer to...
If you grew up between 68 and 2001.
Or in the Pittsburgh area from 59 through 65, I guess. Yeah, you know? Then watch this movie. And this got me thinking, you know, we really need... You and I, we've been talking about this Rob Explains Everything series. Yeah. I think that there's a place to make... I don't want to do it because I don't really want to be around children because they're picky. But
explain to children what's what.
But like to make a series similar to that. But Rob Explains Everything is me condescending to people who I think are stupider than me, but also adults. Yeah. Everything that I think that they should know. The source of this is comes from the same place that I'm about to start bi-monthly Adulting 101 classes with my staff, where we just cover things that come up where I feel like maybe they should know, like. How do taxes work? Yeah. Had to have a discussion with my employees this week about how does a marginal tax rate work? Because they said, it's going to bump me up into the next tax bracket. And then I had to pay 30% taxes on everything. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Marginal means only above what you've already, when you hit that limit, everything above. And they had no idea what I was talking about. So Adulting 101, but it comes from the same place. I just think we need to find somebody who can do puppets and find somebody who is...
Good with children?
Good with children would be all right, but like latently homosexual, but without the homosexuality, and slightly like attractive, but not too attractive, and friendly. I'm saying Roberto. Do you think he's available for friend of the show, Roberto? Is he available for some children's shows? That's what I'm asking.
I think he's available. I'll
Okay.
have to check with his agent.
We'll have to check with his agent.
But I think we can shoehorn in some time.
But so that aside, watch the movie. It's amazing. It made me cry. It will make you cry. Just seeing what this man did over 40 years, basically, changing the world. And one of the changes he gave was that he said, we're all special. And now political scientists, I guess, kind of, are blaming him for this lack of military turnout.
That was a news story 15 years ago, or before he died.
The special generation.
Yeah, like 20 something years ago on Fox News. I'll say this because I've heard that one before. I never heard it specifically portioned to Fred Rogers before the documentary.
Yes.
But the idea that every child is special is a little bit different than I think what Fred Rogers was doing. So Mr. Rogers was more about like, you were special because you are you, and I love you because of you.
Yes.
Not because you have some special innate ability. Like I think the problem is that when you're talking about like the special generation and like every kid feeling special, like it's important for a kid's personality to feel like they're unique and like loved and stuff like that, which is what Fred Rogers was doing. What doesn't help children is if you're not good at baseball, still getting a trophy for finishing last place.
Yeah. But by the way,
that one is the one that sort of like makes you say like, oh, well, you know, I'm good enough for a trophy. So
did we, as our generation, ask for those trophies for last place?
No.
You know who gave them to us?
Parents.
You did. Yeah. You assholes who now call millennials soft and like the spoiled generation. You're the ones.
Nobody asked my opinion on it.
My first 4 or 5 years of soccer was like, you don't get first or second place. You don't get shit. Only the people who were in the championship game got any trophies. Second place got the small one.
Yeah.
First place got the big one.
I remember in baseball finishing like 8th or something like that and then getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
Like the game was over and I was just like, all right, see you guys. It was a great season. And then they're just like, oh, are you going to stick around and get your trophy? And I'm just like,
we deserve
we finished 8th.
8th out of 8.
What am I? There's a trophy for this?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I mean, like more than anything, it became like just like something you could put on your shelf saying like, I played Little League Baseball in 1992.
Yeah.
Like...
Which, I mean, in the age before social media, may be important. I mean, now we have pictures, so...
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, back in the day, like, I would... If I didn't have an internet database where I could look back on all the fantasy things that I've ever played in, then I'd probably have, like, some file somewhere going, like... of all my fantasy teams.
Lineup week to week.
Just be like, this is what my team looked like in 1998, the year I finished 3rd in the championship.
Ooh. Yes. Anyway, so the special generation, don't blame Fred Rogers. He's a magical human being who has magical powers and touches me very, very deeply in my heart.
In your cry gene.
In my cry place, apparently. But not only are we special, and that's why the military is shrinking, but because there is a lack of fitness for duty. And your first comment, which I feel was apt because it was my reaction too, is like, oh, they mean like physically, like we couldn't physically do the things that make you soldiers.
Yeah.
Now, I consistently remember being a senior in high school and having the military recruiters tell me like, you just come, you work out with us for a couple weeks, we'll get you in tip-top shape, no problems at all, man. So I don't think that's it. And it turns out that's not it. What it is that today's generation is just mentally unfit for not only warfare, not only like being in theater, but just the soldier's life.
Yeah.
Mentally unfit for it. And I don't know that I disagree with that at all. Generally speaking, the people who I work with, the 20-somethings I work with, I would not trust them with a sharpened butter knife, let alone a firearm in a war area. So,
you know, it's not only that, it's just like, I think that there was up until World War II and Korea, maybe Korea, you could make an argument for. There was a dignity to signing up and serving.
Sure.
There was a, you know, like, I want to be a part of this. I want to defeat the Nazis. So I'm going to sign up and I'm going to help this country because I can do good for the Air Force or whatever, you know? And as the years have gone on, as Vietnam happened, and then you had parents who had kids and the parents talked about how stupid Vietnam was. And then as kids, we grew up and there's the Gulf War and there's Kosovo and there's, you know, like all these other stupid things. Grenada. There's, you know, obviously the Iraq war and, you know, Afghanistan and the war on terror and all this stuff. Like, people just realize that there's no like dignity in doing it anymore. There's no like reason to be like, I don't feel like I'm helping America by joining the military.
Yes.
I feel like I'm actively hurting America by doing it. That's my problem. And I feel like a lot of other people feel that way. Like, why would I sign up for the army now and then find out 6 months from now I might be standing on the Mexican border shooting at kids who are trying to cross? Like,
Yeah.
why would I want that?
Or,
And it's like, if every single war was something that was, you know, you could make an argument that, at least in the beginning, that the idea behind Vietnam was warranted, and the fact that we're trying to keep communism from spreading,
Dominant
and
theory.
and like, you know, South Korea,
North Korea or North Vietnam.
North Vietnam and South Vietnam, like, you know, there needs to be, somebody needs to be in there and just make sure that there's order and peace at the DMZ and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's not. I would not feel comfortable signing up for the military and think that at some point I might go away somewhere and that the war is going to be valid or just. You know,
Keep in mind that there were people who signed up for.
it's like the same way that there's more kids now who are not going to college,
Right?
Because they've heard about, you know, like their older brother or something like that getting out of college and being like, I'm $200,000 in debt and I'm never going to get out of this.
Yeah. And I'm not going to get a job with the major I have.
And this degree is worthless to me.
Yeah, I'm going to go work at a record label and for no reason.
And then the kids go like, oh, well, I mean, what I really want to do is become a writer. I don't need to go to college for that.
Nope.
Like, I'll just write.
Yep.
And
But
then-
imagine if you went into the National Guard, you went to serve, and then the next thing you know, you're standing on the streets of Baltimore holding guns at Americans
Yeah.
who are protesting. And you have to shut down the streets because of a curfew that the mayor put in place. Like,
Right.
Yes,
Illegally put in place.
Yeah, you could be on the Mexican border, but you could also be in Ferguson or Baltimore and pointing guns at other Americans. Like, it's unfathomable. If you ask yourself why there is less people signing up, just look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, if a kid, you know, I guarantee you that the black kids in Baltimore were a huge source of getting people to sign up for the military. Hey, man, you're going to do better than your parents. We'll give you 3 square meals a day. You're going to get your education. You're going to move on. And then some kid saw a guy pointing a rifle at his mother or his father and said, not for me, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I don't want to be back here pointing a gun at one of my friend's parents. I'm not going to do that.
Well, I mean, like, and this is the thing I was trying to kind of get around to on the Grammys when we were talking about that earlier. If you have bad music and then it begets more bad music until eventually somebody can break the generations just grow up with this.
Yeah.
So the Vietnam generation grew up and told all their kids that the military is stupid. And then all the things through the 90s and 2000s furthered that point. And now everyone who was born basically from that point on, who's not like super to the right, essentially, like decides that they're like, this is stupid. Why would I do it?
Yep. And you know, the other source of soldiers you would get are kids in their early 20s who are like, hey, it's not working out. I'm going to go in the military. But they're emotionally damaged from parents. And
it's like the same logic behind, like, you know, like there's a story that comes out every like 18 months or so where it's just like America military falling behind by not having enough good computer engineers who can secure us from security threats and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, because if I'm a really good coder, what am I going to do? Work for $30,000 a year in the U.S. government?
Yeah.
And maybe every once in a while there's a shutdown and I'm a month without rent and I have to figure that shit out? Or I can make, I don't know, $300,000 a year working for Google.
Yep.
Like, it's not of course you're not getting the people you need. Like,
or maybe you'll get student loan forgiveness. Oh, wait, only 1% of the people who apply actually get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me run those odds that I'm going to be one of the 1%. I'm going to go work at Google. I'd rather be the 1% who get to work at Google than the 1% who might get the student loan
Exactly.
forgiveness. So, one thing I want to talk about real quick, we don't have to go into it much, but here's a note for you guys. More than half of Americans are now in a DNA registration database that's accessible by the FBI.
Yeah.
So, I hope none of my family members did it because...
I know for a fact one of mine did.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yep,
So.
your code's in.
Yeah.
Wait, female relative or male?
Male.
Oh, you're fucked. That's one. The male is the worst.
Yeah.
Like, if it's the same gender as you, then they have more of the same genetic code. Than
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So,
I know.
Yep. Mitochondrial DNA is one thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So
All I'm saying
no,
is
no crime committing for you.
Anybody who's not on Facebook but has gotten a 23andMe is a fucking moron. We all
Are you calling a member of your family a moron? Which member is this? They know who they are.
we get in righteous outrage every once in a while about social media companies, and if you're not paying for the service, then you're the service kind
You're
of
not
thing.
paying for a product. You are, in fact, the product.
Yeah. At the very least, though, Facebook's advertising, which is the only way they use your information to make money, other than selling entire swaths of data to companies.
Well, access to data.
yeah.
They're not selling the data.
Yeah.
It's access to the
But
data.
it's anonymized.
Yes.
So, they know that 34-year-olds who live in Los Angeles like Legend of Zelda. So all of a sudden, you're going to get, if somebody's targeting 34-year-old males who live
I mean, to be fair,
in the West Coast and they
fair.
like Zelda, then
The only
I'm going to
person-
start getting a lot of things on the Facebook.
the only person who's impacted by that particular skewing of data is Kim Jong-un, because the two of you are the only ones.
He likes American pop culture. What can you say?
You start getting ads for Sapporo beer. He's starting to get ads for Legend of Zelda. And he's like, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't like him very much.
By the way, I've realized that there's no way this haircut works, by the way. Straight back, it's Kim Jong-un. To the side, it's Adolf Hitler. If I let it go, I look like Manny Machado when everyone was making fun of him.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
there's no benefit to it.
I mean, I think you just play around with it a little more. We'll see what happens. Just play around with it.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking, what's funny is I was watching a director's roundtable with Ryan Coogler, and he's got like the undercut thing with like the hair sticking up. But
Yeah.
because he's Coogler, he looks really cool with
Yeah,
it.
it's cool.
And there's no way I would be able to, I can't just like stick my hair straight up and then people go like, oh, that's a man who knows what the fuck's going on.
You could try it. Try and see.
Just go with
Pull
the
the
eraser
Kramer.
head look.
Yeah, pull the Kramer. See
Yeah.
what it looks. Anyway, but at least Facebook only sells your data. They're not selling your genome, which and giving it to the FBI, which may, get your relatives caught with crimes. Luckily, I think most of my family's too poor to afford the 23andMe
It's
test.
only $99. It's not that.
Too much. Bridge too far.
I think this old 92 F250 is still going to make it another 100,000 miles.
Yep.
I mean, it's already at 800,000 miles. There's no
Got
reason
it.
why it can't get to 900,000
Luckily,
miles.
because I got some crimes to commit and might leave some DNA some places. So prefer not to have that around.
The other part is the NYPD apparently swabbing poor people too, which is like
So I dug in. Did you dig into that story at all?
I was able to get a little bit into it.
It's basically a probation thing.
Yeah.
But there's so many people on parole and probation that they're basically like swabbing you and then also saying, well, if you are going to vouch for this person, we need to swab you too. And
Yeah.
if they're going to live with you, we got to swab you too. It just means whole swaths of poor people are getting swabbed.
You
So-
know, it's funny. I was like, when I originally gotten my license, my driver's license, they had to do the fingerprints as part of the thing. And since I had gotten my original license in Maryland,
Wait, you got fingerprinted when you got your driver's license?
yeah,
I mean,
oh,
not me, bro.
well, I had,
I'm
but
out
then
of the system.
But then I had cut my finger, my thumb,
Yeah.
so I don't have the same print anymore,
Right.
And I was just like, all right, I'm never gonna give this up
No, of
ever
course.
for any reason.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just volunteer this information. And then I needed to do it for the California license, so I ended up having to do
They
it.
do
but-
fingerprints?
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not gonna get a California license.
And now it's like one of those things. Like forever, I was just saying like, no, I'm not going to do NSA pre-check. I don't want them to have all that
TSA,
information.
TSA pre-check.
NSA.
I'm the one who's under NSA pre-check, all right?
I don't want to do TSA pre-check because I don't want them to have all my information. Then I realize that all the male family members in my family have just volunteered their DNA, so I might as well.
To be fair, they do a retina scan. That's the one thing they don't have. But you've already given them all the facial recognition stuff they need with Snapchat.
With the Snapchat.
Yeah, so you're fine.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well do it. What do you got to lose?
Just get through the airport quicker now.
Yeah, I know, really. Yeah, just saving yourself some time.
Of course, I'm gonna get it, and Rachel won't.
Yeah.
And then I'll be standing on the other side. Where is she? But she gets to be in the line all by herself going like, oh my God, it's 20 minutes before the airplane takes off. I don't know if we're going to make it.
Oh my God, it's 2 hours before the airplane takes off. The security line is so long. That was me making fun of Rachel because she's watching and she likes to get to the airport 4 hours early.
Yeah.
Just like my mom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't give your DNA away.
Yeah, don't. If you say to yourself like, "Wow, it's amazing that I can spend $100 and find out if I'm related to Billy the Kid," which I am, by the way, apparently, according to one of those DNA services.
That's bullshit. All right, I don't care. That's bullshit. All I'm saying is, if Ed Snowden starts backing a DNA test, I'm in. Like, hey, you just want to find out where you're from? Great. As soon as they tell you, they destroy all of the whole genome. Like,
Imagine for a second that somebody comes into power, like who's the Secretary of State now? God damn it, I can't remember his name.
Our current Secretary of State?
Yeah.
Pompeo. Oh, that's right. Wait, it's a new guy now.
Yeah.
I was
Pompeo.
Yeah. How many was that? I said Tillman. How many ago was
Tillerson?
that? Yeah, Tillerson. What was that?
It was one ago.
That was one ago. Okay, all right. Not too far back. All right.
Mike Pompeo just shows up at Ed Snowden's hotel room quietly in the middle of the night and is just like, listen, I come in peace. I want you to do something for me. I want you to still live on the lam. We're going to drop all the charges. You never have to worry about it. I mean, we're publicly going to say if we ever get the chance to arrest you, we're going to do it. But we're not really going to do it.
Treason.
But what we would like to, we're going to funnel you $20 million a year to start supporting these apps. So all the people who are trying to stay on the DL.
No, I'm not.
It's just like, hey, listen, I think this Signal app is really good. It's super secure. Nobody's looking at it. I swear to God.
Tor browser.
1, 2, 3, 4, counting out my money.
No, I'm paranoid.
Like Snowden got.
Maybe he got. I mean, he's living the high life in Russia.
Yeah.
Maybe Putin got to him.
Oh, there we go. It's a trilateral thing between Putin, Trump, and Edward Snowden.
Oh man, it's all coming out. I gotta get the foil out.
Gotta look through all of Edward Snowden's pictures to see if you see little Illuminati symbols or something like that.
Yeah.
I never noticed the little Illuminati triangles on the side of his glasses. I was so stupid.
He got me. He got me. Here I am talking about all sorts of nasty, illegal stuff on my Signal. Oh, well.
Anyway, if you want to be influenced by the Illuminati, you know where you go.
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com, Corey to OTheAnthem.com, The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more on me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendCB5 on Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm. New review for Green Book is coming out this week on Thursday. And then at some point this week, I'm going to go see The Favorite so I can have that out for next week. Next week as well on the podcast, we're going to have Jim in. Doing our Jim special.
Let me go to the two shot. Yeah, excited once again. Jim,
we should have done that
us
at the very beginning. But we got all riled up in Kaepernick and Kareem Hunt.
Yes. So maybe just put in the notations down in the show notes. Jim's joining us next week for talking about Oscar picks. So I'm going to stay quiet and let these two talk, and then I'll come out with my picks, which are going to be out of left field. Go ahead, and I'm just going to tell you that because I haven't seen most of them. So
he's seen a good number of them.
I mean, maybe. I'm trying to think. I don't know what's nominated. Should probably look into that.
For Best Picture?
Yeah, should probably look into that.
Let's just see real quick, because I'm only one short. The Favorite's the only one I have left.
Yeah, I really don't want to see that. By the way, you know how you're not in the Illuminati?
How?
Because if a secret cabal was running the world, they would not let you have this haircut. They'd be like, it looks bad. This looks bad on all of us. We're not allowed to have it. It would be the same reaction that Rachel had. The fuck did you do to our hair?
To our hair?
Yes.
All right. Real quick. Bohemian Rhapsody?
Seen it.
The Favorite?
No.
Black Panther?
Seen it.
Klansman?
Seen it.
Green Book?
Seen it.
Vice?
Seen it.
A Star is Born?
Seen it.
Roma?
Seen it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, look at that. Accidentally saw everything that I wanted to see. Not going to see The Favorite.
Did I miss something?
Okay.
No, I guess that is it.
Yeah, I think there's only 9 or 8, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Anywho, you got more things?
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, oh, that's you.
Hey!
There I am. Hey, so you can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all social networks, like it says right there. Follow me on Instagram because I have really funny things to say, like how I cried at Won't You Be My Neighbor,
Yeah.
and other cool things like that. Of course, you can find more at robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Burroughs Books.
Thank you, sir.
All right, well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem stumbling across the finish line. Part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Arrivederci.
Stumbling across that finish line. Here we go.
That's how you pronounce it, right?
Hashtag cultured.